Hello all, welcome to the next video of Societal Impacts. So in the first part we have seen what is the digital footprint, what are the different net etiquettes when we are that we follow when we are using the internet, etc. So in this video we will be learning about the data protection. So what do you mean by data protection? See, we are putting so many data in the internet every day as emails. I told you we are actually leaving digital footprints every day in if you are using net every day in your daily life. If you are having if you are entering it by your knowledge, it is active, otherwise it is passive. So whatever may be the mode you are giving the data that you are giving in the net, it should be protected. So the data protection is are the different practices and safeguards and the binding rules put in place to protect your personal information and ensure that you keep the control of the whole data that you are posting it. So in short, that you should be able to decide whether you want to share some information or not, or how many people have the access on the data you are putting, or how many people are able to see your post, how many are able to comment on it, and how much time you are going to keep it in that, etc., etc. So actually that is a little bit difficult for the people to maintain the control of their personal information. So this is the area where the data notion of data protection comes in. So in this chapter what we are going to learn is the different rules and regulations imposed by government is there, and those type of things, and that you people have to know while you are using the internet. First one is intellectual property rights, IPR. It's also known as IPR. See, for example, I can say that one of you are writing a poem. Okay, you are writing a poem. You come write in your notebook and come to the class, and somebody else read it out in the class. You are keeping it the notebook closed. You are not taking it outside, but somebody else took your notebook and he is reading out in the class. So whose poem is that? Whose poem is that? Actually one person wrote it, but somebody else told in the public. But actually whose it is? It is the property of the person who have written it. So that person should get the credit. So this type of things are known as intellectual property right, the right given to the person who really owns it. Okay, so intellectual property refers to the intangible property that has been created by individuals and corporations. See, this is an example when I told about an individual person. The article written by a person, the poem written by a person, story written by a person, all these things are actually the intellectual property of individuals. Similarly, they may have, when it comes to the corporation, who made some individual corporations may be creating their own products, so those becomes intellectual property of that company or that corporation. So there are some intellectual property rights. So one of person thing, he has to get that IPR, intellectual property right. So if he owns that IPR, nobody else is ready. He should if somebody else is using it, is stealing the data. It's just like stealing the data from some other person. So if you want to use this, really use this IP or intellectual property by somebody else, you have to get either the copyright of that or the trademark or patent and the digital data. All these things will learn. So it is therefore unethical to copy or steal the creativity and efforts of someone else. We have already told about that. So you can see intellectual property is divided into two types actually. Industrial property, which majorly speaks about the protecting inventions, and the copyright majorly protects the literary and artistic work. So industrial properties are there where one company is making one product and this other company cannot take the product. And on the other hand, copyright is something different, that if you are writing the poem and if you want to publish it, you cannot publish it. If you want to publish, you can do that, but if you are giving some publishers to do that, what we have to do is you have to give the copyright to them. Okay, you are actually selling the copyright and they will do it on your behalf. They'll tell that it is such and such person's book if you want to, and we are the publishers, and if you want to read it you can. So that's a copyright thing. You are given the due credit, you are given the due financial credit, and as well as the name also, but still they have the right, or they have the copyright to distribute among the people. So copyright is majorly for the literary and artistic works. Now coming to industrial properties, there I told you that is inventions of new things, commercial names, designs, etc. Now coming to plagiarism. Plagiarism is just simply we can see it is stealing. Even you people are also doing it knowingly or unknowingly. Why? Because whenever you take something from net without giving the others the credit, it is known as plagiarism. You are taking the data from somebody else paper, somebody else written, and you are not giving the credit to that person, you are telling that it is yours, then it is plagiarism. Now it can be classified as accidental or unintentional, and deliberate or intentional. Accidental means that see, if you are writing a sentence just similar to the thinking of other person, that is accidental, but the thing is both are same. Okay, that is unintentional, it is less serious. Okay, but deliberate, we are doing for intentionally, you are taking the words directly as such, or you are just taking the words and interchanging the day, you're taking the meaning and putting is different words on it, that is deliberate plagiarism. How do you avoid plagiarism? For avoiding it, you can use your own ideas and words, always provide a reference or give credit. If you are taking the help of some already written article or works, you just give the credit. If you are taking from that, no issue, but just give the credit that so and so person has written like this. Okay, so you are, when you're given you are taking the data from somebody else, you just give the credit to that person who really wrote it, and cite the name of the website or URL or the name of the authors, and acknowledge them if you have used their work. And also take the information in the full form of bulleted notes in your words. And yeah, you can take you read the whole article, and you can write them in your own viewpoint. Okay, in your own viewpoint, not in your own words alone, but in your own viewpoint. So such and such person has written uh, the the article in such a way, that means your viewpoint is also involved in it. And you can, once you have written the articles, you can go for online tools which checks the plagiarism. And another thing is develop your writing skills, which means that you should have a unique way of writing. Next is licensing and copyright. A software license is a legal permission or a right to use or redistribution of that software. So you might be aware of that. See, when you get some softwares are free, you are able to get it every time, any time from the internet. But some are actually money. You have to give some money for that. Why? Because some of the softwares may be having legal license. Okay, so you, in order to get that license, you have to pay the money. Okay, so and also the software can run on a certain number of computers as per license agreement. See, when a legal or document is there, it means that there are some rules and regulations behind that. So whenever you download or when you install a software, there may be some terms and conditions, and these terms and conditions will be based on those licenses. You will not be able to give that software to somebody else. You may be, or you have to use it to do your own purpose. So many rules and regulations are also comes along with that. So software license usually answers a question like, can you copy, modify, or reduce it? Of course, we talked about that. How many times or how many computers you can install that software with one copy, etc., etc. Whether you can take the source code or not. So the software license can be classified as proprietary licenses and free and open source licenses. And under the free and open source licenses, there are two, that is copyleft and permissive. Proprietaries are actually the licenses where the exclusive rights in the software are retained with the owner or the developer or the publisher. They have the freedom to right to use and distribute their proprietary software, which means we have to give the money for the software, and the sole owner of the software will be the developer or the company that is providing it. Free and open source softwares are there. They are free to use. You can run it, you can adapt it according to your change. That means it is free for you. Even the open source means the code itself is free for you. You can change it with it. Open source software is a source code that is publicly available under general public license. That is, general public license is there, which is how any person can use it, any person can change it. So, free and open source softwares allows using, copying, studying and modifying the software and source code to be openly shared, okay, without any copyright issues. Now, permissive licenses are there, in which that they have to provide a royalty-free license to do virtually anything with the source code. They permit the using, copying, modifying, merging, etc., etc. But distribution can only be made without the source code, as source code modification can lead to permissive license violation. Okay, so that is permissive license. They give a certain set of permissions, and copyleft licenses, source code has to be provided. Okay, they have to source code has to be provided, and distribution and modification of source code is permitted. But in the other case it was not like that. And general public license is one such example. Then other licenses are also stated. So thank you for watching.